5 minutes whilst we wait. Welcome to the Ahaspora Development Series. Once again, I'm Felicia Arthur from Ahaspora. I'm Programs Coordinator at Ahaspora. I'm also a mentor for this year's mentoring program. I have two amazing mentees with me, whom I'm working with right now. So I'm excited to be here today. So before we start, I'll go over the ground rules for today. If you are not talking, please make sure your device is on mute so that you don't interrupt our speakers. Also, for us to save bandwidth, if you are not speaking, you can turn off your video so that you save bandwidth and you have a clear internet connection. We know we have these problems here in Ghana. So please turn off your video if you are not speaking, and if you want to speak, turn on your video and turn off your mute and speak to us. If you are a mentor joining us today, please, you can go to the top right corner of your screen and resave your name with mentor. So you put your name and put into brackets mentor. So we know that you are a mentor with us. We just want to acknowledge our mentors with us. And if we have any questions for them, we can specifically channel our questions directly to them. So if you're a mentor with us, please add a mentor to your name. So you can go to the top right corner of your screen, click the three dots at the top right corner, and on the drop down menu, rename yourself and add mentor to your name. I have here with me our resource person. She's already with us. I'll introduce her when it's time for her to speak. We also have members from the Ahaspora Planning Committee. I'm sure they'll introduce themselves as the meeting goes on. And members from the Ahaspora Planning team. We also have mentors from our program. So as we go on, I think we'll have introductions of all the people on with us today. If you are new with us, I know some mentees were invited by their friends. So I'll briefly talk about who we are, Ahaspora, who we are at Ahaspora, and what we do. So Ahaspora is a group of professionals who have lived outside and have come back home and are looking to use their knowledge, skills, and expertise to help make Ghana a better place. So, and we also have like-minded individuals who haven't traveled but kind of share our vision of helping to develop our community or in our nation and Africa at large. We started this mentoring program in 2013, and this is actually like our 8th year of mentoring senior high school students. So each year at the end, in December, we bring together 100 students for a day-long mentoring activity. And at the end, we select 40 mentees who are paired with volunteer mentors from Ahaspora for one-on-one mentoring. We've done this for a very long time, and this session is one of our mid-year events we do to check in on our mentees and also kind of discuss relevant topics that will help with their career development and professional development. So that's the reason why we are here. We are here to discuss how to have a professional presence online with specifics to creating a LinkedIn account. So we have a resource person here who will take us through that, and we have volunteers who will do a walkthrough with us. We'll also have a session with alumni who are currently in colleges outside Ghana, who will talk to us about their college experience, what inspired them to select the colleges they are in and the courses they are doing now, and the process they went through, so that those of us who are planning to go to college this year or next year can learn from them. But just to ease up the atmosphere and prepare for Jamila's presentation, we'll do a charade. Like we'll just have an icebreaker just to cool off before we start, because it's been actually a busy morning for me, so I need it. We have Maxine here. Maxine, can you turn on your video and say hello to us?
Hello, hello
Hi, Maxine.
everybody.
Maxine. Hi, fine, thank you. Maxine is an intern at Ahaspora, and she's currently schooling at Ashesi. She's really helping us a lot with comms and a lot of other things. So Maxine is here. If you want to give this a try, if you
Yes,
want to start the
I'm
charade,
sure.
what we'll do is we'll send you a private message with a word. you turn on your video and you act out the word. Those were with us in December. We did it. So you kind of have the experience already. If you are new to, you can learn from us. So if you want to try this, just put your hands up. You go to if you look at the lower part of your screen, you can put up your hand and Maxine will just go into your chat, private chat, and send you a word. Immediately you get the word, turn on your video and your mic and act out the word we shared. So I want to see if we don't get any volunteer. We have just 10 minutes to do this. So if we don't get any volunteer, we'll just have to call someone. Let's do this quickly. We have about 3 words. So let's do this quickly before Jamila starts with her presentation. Who will go first? Who is going? I think I'll just have to call someone. Maxine, let's try Emanuela. Let's message Emanuela. Emanuela, I hope you are ready.
Okay, Manuela, please, I've sent you your charade character.
Emanuela, can you hear us? Oh, I don't know if Manuela can hear us, but let's try somebody else. Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa. Maxine, send Mother Teresa a message and let's see.
Yes, please. Done.
Good. Mother Teresa, so you can turn on your video and unmute yourself and act out the word Maxine sent you. Then we can all guess. When she does, we all can guess. So we can guess in the chat menu. Then we see who guesses first. Who guessed right. Mother Teresa, are you there? Okay, great. That's my mentee. I knew she would just show up for me.
Okay, good evening. I'm new to this game, so like, if somebody could give it out, yeah, I'm new to it.
So what you do is you act out the word Maxine sent to you. Look at your chat session. Yeah, she sent you something. So you act it out and we'll all try and guess what word it is.
Okay. I'm coming.
Okay, no problem. Richard, get ready. You be the next person. Mother Teresa, your video is okay. Good. You're not seeing it too. Hey, no sound. I can see bed. Is it a bed?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay. Anybody can guess. You can unmute. You can just type in the chat session. Chicken. Somebody. Mary says chicken. I'm not seeing the word.
No.
Plane. Kirsten says plane. Is it a plane?
No.
Maxine, what is the word?
No, it's not a plane.
What's the word?
Crab.
A crab. Oh, my mentee.
It's crab. Yes.
Your mentor is an actor, so please don't disappoint. We have to go for acting lessons. That'll be the next thing we will do, next activity we do. Okay, Maxine, Richard, send him Richard the word. Richard, are you ready? You need to turn on your video to act out the word. Okay. Our last person will be Kudas Kessin. Kudas Kessin will be our last person. So Kudas, get ready. Okay. Richard, have you received your word?
I'm checking.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I have.
Okay, act it out and let's see. Ta-da-da. Hey. Makeup.
Yes, that's right.
Yay! I'm a makeup artist. I couldn't have missed that. I couldn't have missed that. Okay, so thank you, Richard, for doing this. Kessin, Kudas.
Cousin, okay.
Yes. You are next.
Okay, I send the word.
Okay, Kessin, Maxine has sent the word, so please turn on your camera and act it out for us. Hey, we are not seeing it, so please. Hey. Hey. Please, who is seeing what Kessin is doing? I'm not seeing it. Breaking heart. I was saying breaking heart.
Someone had it.
Breaking heart, hey, people. Was it breaking heart?
Yes.
Oh, okay, he got it. Okay. So I will got it. Okay, we can do one more person. Who wants to try? Samuel Yamite. You people are not
Samuel.
I'm going to call names.
Okay.
Samuel Yamite.
Samuel, I sent you your word.
So Samuel, turn on your video and act out what you saw, what Maxine sent you. Samuel, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just a minute there.
Okay, we are waiting. We have 1 minute. You said just so we are waiting for you.
Okay. So winning on hey, I don't need to say it, right?
But we need to see your face.
Okay, so can you see me?
Yes, we can see you, Samuel.
Hey, that's
Hey.
no sound, right?
No sound. Yeah. Hey.
So who can guess?
Hey, please, celebration. Nada says celebration.
No. She should try more.
Rami says happy.
No.
Mary says victory. Hey, props in the move. Hey, goal. Winner. Nada says goal. Football. Rami says trophy. Hey, Samuel, we are not seeing you again. David, please spotlight Samuel for us. We cannot see Sam. I think we lost Samuel. We lost Samuel. Maxine, what was the word?
Winning an award.
Winning an. Hey, Maxine, you too. You too. What did we do? Okay, let's do one more. Let's do one more. Richmond, are you ready?
Richmond.
Richmond.
Okay. It's going to get tougher.
Hey, it's getting tougher, eh?
Yes.
I don't know if I should give it a try. It's going to get tougher.
Richmond, please, have you seen your word?
Richmond, have you seen your word? We are going to spotlight you in a second. So you can turn on your video and your mic and act out the word. Richmond. Oh, Richmond, are you here?
Yeah, he's turned on his video.
Okay. Okay, Richmond is. Ooh. Richmond, when you finish, I'll tell everybody something about you. Okay, so Richmond, please act out your word for us. Oh, your brother is there disturbing. Maybe he's going to help you. Okay, can we see the word? Hey, crying.
Oh my gosh.
Is it crying? Hey, shy. Rami says shy.
Yeah, it's crying.
It's crying. Maxine, what was the word?
Beyonce.
Hey! Richmond, do you know Beyonce?
Beyonce. This is a musician. Yeah.
Yeah, and the only way you could illustrate Beyonce was touch your eyes. And can do this in where? This is funny. Okay, Richmond is one of our star mentees. Richmond recently won an award for an essay competition with UBA. So you guys, let's give Richard a shout. If you are in your home, just give him a thumbs up. Richard, congratulations and thank you so much for being awesome, being an awesome mentee. Have a pleasant and thanks for joining us. Good ups. Okay. I think we are almost done. We're going to end the session and call Jamila to join us. But before I do, I'll say a little bit about our resource person for today. So our resource person for today is Ahaspora. She's a pioneer mentor on our mentoring program. She's been mentoring young people for like since she's been doing this on a day-to-day basis. She's a digital skills trainer and an international development consultant and strategic communication advisor. Jamila enjoys fitness, astronomy, global cuisine, which if you go to her LinkedIn, you will see immediately you visit Jamila's LinkedIn account, you kind of see this, like it attests to that she's a global cuisine lover. She enjoys great design and she enjoys lifelong learning. So we'll welcome Jamila, who is going to be our resource person for today. Jamila is going to take us through setting up a LinkedIn account, the importance of having a professional presence online. So Jamila, please, if you are here with us, you can turn on your video and I'll hand over the session to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Felicia, and hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. I know that you can't really respond, so you can just use the chat box, continue to use the chat box, because I might have some questions for you as we go on as well. So in the meantime, first question for you, how many of you have a LinkedIn account? You can just mention it in the chat box while I pull up my presentation. Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, Jamila, we can see your screen.
Okay, great. Let's see. So we have a few people who have LinkedIn accounts already, so that's good. And then I'm assuming the rest of us are here to learn today a bit about LinkedIn. So you are still in good company. So let's just get right into it. So I'm going to skip some of this stuff since Felicia so graciously introduced me already. I'll just mention a few other things and then I'll feed it into what we're talking about today. So I joined LinkedIn in March 2008, right? So I was a student, a university student in the US when I joined LinkedIn. So for many of you, you are actually joining LinkedIn ahead of when I joined LinkedIn because you are in SHS or SHS graduates, and maybe a few of us are beyond that stage. So you are getting a good head start into using LinkedIn for your career development. I've also lived and worked in 7 countries and visited over 30 countries. And what that means is that I meet, well, not so much these days because we are during, in COVID times, but before COVID times, I can say very confidently that I know people in almost every country I've been to, right? And in countries I haven't been to. And so when you are meeting a lot of different people, one of the challenges is staying connected to all these people, especially when you are meeting them in the context of your work and not necessarily because they are family and friends. And so LinkedIn is a good platform for staying connected with the people you encounter in school, in your community, if it's in your church or mosque, or even just through initiatives like the Ahaspora Mentorship Initiative. It's a good place to stay connected to people, but more with a professional goal in mind. And then on LinkedIn, you can also publish digital content. And I'm a writer. I've been writing since I was in primary school, probably, but more seriously since 2007. And despite all the writing I have done, my article that had the most views, and to this day, I still have people commenting on it, is an article on LinkedIn. So this is just to give you a sense of how active LinkedIn is. Great. So now that you know a little bit about me, my second question to all of you, or to those of you who said you are already on LinkedIn, what is LinkedIn? Can you just take a guess? You don't have to put a full sentence. You can just put like a few words that come to mind when you think about LinkedIn. Okay. I'm not seeing any responses yet, so I'm just going to go ahead in the interest of time. So LinkedIn is actually not that different from a lot of the social media platforms that we have. So it is an online networking platform. And the main difference that LinkedIn has compared to platforms like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter is that it is a professional network, meaning people who are on LinkedIn are usually on LinkedIn for professional reasons. They are not coming there to learn about who got married to who. They are not coming there to find out about what the hottest music in town is today, unless, of course, that has to do with their profession. So anything you can think about, the kinds of things that you would want to post on Facebook, the only way that it makes sense for LinkedIn is if it has a professional angle to it. So that is the main difference between LinkedIn and other platforms. So while you might just be sharing a photo on Instagram of the food you ate, if you are a caterer and you are sharing that photo on LinkedIn, you might be talking about how you spent so much time to learn the recipe, and now you have been able to serve that food in a top hotel, you know, that kind of thing, or the skills that you had to learn in order to be able to create that dish. So that's kind of to give you a quick sense of how different LinkedIn is from other social media networks. Now, okay, please don't play with my screen. Huh? So now we have about 740 million members, LinkedIn members across the world, and they're in 200 countries, right? Including Ghana. So I'm on LinkedIn, Felicia is on LinkedIn. I'm sure some of your mentors are also on LinkedIn. Maybe some of your family members are also on LinkedIn. Now, the interesting thing about LinkedIn is that even though it is an American network, it was initially started in the US, you have over 75% of their members being based outside the US. And if you look at the map on the screen, you can already see how many people are in some of the larger locations. So Nigeria, let's look at Africa. So Nigeria, for example, 5 million Nigerians are on LinkedIn. In Egypt, another 5 million. South Africa, 8 million. Canada, 17 million. Now, what this means is that when you are on LinkedIn, you have potentially the opportunity to connect with people from across the world, right? Facebook, you can do the same thing, but Facebook tends to be more about your family and your friends, but LinkedIn tends to be more about career and professional development. So you can connect with another high school student in another country who is also using LinkedIn, or maybe you are doing some research, right, for some classwork and you need to connect with an engineer. You might be able to connect with a Nigerian engineer who is on LinkedIn. Another interesting fact is that 60% of people who are on LinkedIn are between 25 and 34 years. So the population on LinkedIn is quite young. And this is important to note because at the end of the day, you guys are not yet in the workforce. I'm assuming most of you are not yet, you're not yet working, you're not yet employed. Maybe some of you have done internships, but you have not yet started working full-time. So once you get into that market, you are probably going to stay there until retirement age is 60 years in Ghana, I believe. So you are probably going to stay there until 60 years minimum. And even after you leave your work, chances are by that time you will be such an expert that people will want you to share your insights on the work that they are doing or what's happening in the country and so on. So you might still stay on LinkedIn. So we have someone like Bill Gates, who is very popular on LinkedIn. Bill Gates is the one who created Microsoft, for those who do not know. And so he, even though he is not 34 years, he's definitely older than that, he is still on LinkedIn and he shares information on LinkedIn a lot. Now, a lot of people use LinkedIn to search for jobs. LinkedIn, when LinkedIn was first started, it was started for people to find jobs online. So that still remains a very big part of why people use LinkedIn. And every minute, so I've talked for maybe about 10 minutes, like 30 people have been hired through LinkedIn, right? So LinkedIn is a powerful tool for employers and employees. And when you talk about how do people learn about companies, most people learn about companies because of people who work in those companies. So employees tend to account for 30% of a company's engagement, meaning people are going to visit the company page. They are reading news about the company or the organization. They want to know what is happening in the company and looking for opportunities with that company. Now, how do you go about creating a LinkedIn account? So I know that LinkedIn might sound very, very scary because the focus is on being professional or on looking at your career or your professional interests or your academic interests, right? But remember what I said in the beginning, it is really about networking, online networking. And the good news is most of the online networking platforms have the same features for the most part. So in order for you to use LinkedIn, you have to create an account and then you have to set up your profile. So if you look on the left panel, there's a snapshot of my LinkedIn profile. So you can see it's pretty colorful, but you can also see that I have my name, I have a photo of myself, I have a banner at the top. I have information about my work, my school, and then I have another section which is like a little bio. So this just gives you a sense of what a LinkedIn profile can look like, right? So you have to put all this information in your account. And the reason you do that is so that other people, maybe other students who might be interested in joining a program like the Ahaspora mentorship program, if you put in your LinkedIn profile that, oh, you are one of the mentees for the Ahaspora mentorship program, and you are connecting with a high school student in another region of Ghana, they might see that and they might say, oh, Kofi, like, tell me about the Ahaspora mentorship program. So the information you put on your profile becomes a starting point for conversation. If you are looking for a job or you are looking for an internship, or you are just looking for maybe is the long vac, I don't know if you still call it that, it's long vac, and you are looking for something to do. You don't just want to sit at home. So maybe you want to do some volunteering, right? And you send somebody a message. Probably one of the first things they will do is they will go to your profile to learn a bit about you, to find out what interests you have, to find out which schools you've gone to, and also to find out what your career aspirations are. So the profile is a very important part of using LinkedIn. And beyond LinkedIn, if you are just looking to use online professionally, your profile is really the starting point, because that is where you tell people who you are, what you care about, what makes you unique, and so on. Now, another thing you can do on LinkedIn is you can add connections, right? Or if you want to use Facebook speak, you can add friends. You can also join groups, just like Facebook. And in your case, you can even find mentors, right? So if, for instance, you are challenged by the Ahaspora mentorship group that you should do a profile on a mentor in an industry that you are interested in, right? You can go on LinkedIn, and if you look back to the image on the left, there's a search bar right at the very top where the LinkedIn icon is. And when you search in there, you can just put in, let's say, engineering mentor, and you might be able to find people who are in the engineering industry and who are willing to mentor. And then that would be a good place for you to start doing this assignment for the Ahaspora mentorship program. So this is just to give you a sense of some of the things that you can do on LinkedIn. You can also search for jobs, but maybe you are not yet job seeking. Maybe you are, let's say you studied business, but you are really curious about event design. Maybe you want to be a wedding planner. So right now you are at the stage where you just want to learn everything you can learn about event planning to see if it is something you are interested in. You can go on LinkedIn and search, do a search for wedding planning or how to become an event planner. And if anybody else has shared information about that, you will get that information and then you can read. So it's a good place for researching. But of course, a social network will not be social if you yourself cannot put out information, right? So you can post content. Content can be articles, can be links, it can be videos, it can be photos, all of those things that you can post on other platforms, you can post on LinkedIn too. But again, the difference is you just need to make sure that the content is professional content. So let me give you an example. So let's say that let's assume that you have finished writing your SSC, and because you finished writing your SSC, your entire school, some of you decided to go and throw a party, right? To celebrate your SSC, finishing your SSC. Now, when you were at that party, you took some photos, right? And you posted those photos on Facebook and people liked it, and you didn't even need to say anything. You just posted the photos. If you wanted to post those photos on LinkedIn, what you would need to do is think about how to make a professional case for why that photo should go on LinkedIn, right? So you are partying in the club. Why should that be on LinkedIn? So an example here is you can write a caption to accompany the photo, which will say something like, oh, we are so excited. We just finished high school and we decided to throw a party. We can't wait to see what comes next, right? So you have tied it back to your academic experiences in this case, or to your career experiences. And so when people find it on LinkedIn with that caption, it gives the professional context. And so people might not be like, hey, why are you posting a photo of yourself at the club, right? So this is what I mean by the content has to be professional, or you have to make a professional case for why that content is on LinkedIn. Another thing you can do on LinkedIn is you can send DMs. We all know what DMs are. You can send direct messages. It's kind of like little emails without going into your email. And so I could decide to send Felicia a direct message on LinkedIn to ask her a question and ask her to tell me something that I need, right? So you can definitely send direct messages on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn also allows you to share stories. So the same way that you have WhatsApp stories, you can share LinkedIn stories. So you can share short videos, you can share short photos, and then text and so on, and links in the stories back end. So you can do that as well. Now, one thing that I want all of you to pay attention to, especially at the stage that you're at, you guys are so lucky that you are in high school or in university at this time, when there's so much amazing information about careers and career paths and opportunities online, right? So LinkedIn is a good place for you to start learning about different careers and also learning some skills. So if, for example, if you are more analytical, maybe you are a math shark. When it comes to math, nobody can compete with you, but you feel like you need to improve your communication skills. If you go on LinkedIn and you do a search, you could potentially find a course, a short course that would teach you how to improve your communication skills. So this is a great tool, especially when you are not in school, or maybe over the weekend, if you don't have too much going on, but you have a free LinkedIn account, you can go and see if there are any free courses that you can take so that you can learn a new skill and improve yourself. And then that will also help prepare you for your career. Great. Are there any questions so far before we go on? And Felicia, can you keep me on time because I can't see my clock? So
Yes.
let me know when. Yeah, let me know when we are at, when it is 5 o'clock.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll do that. We have about 30 minutes to go, so I'll
okay,
let
great.
you. Yeah, it's 5 o'clock.
Okay, great. Okay, no questions so far. Okay, so we'll move on. So I've already talked about some of these, but let me just give a quick recap so that we are all on the same page. Some of the things that you can use LinkedIn for and what most people tend to use LinkedIn for. You can use LinkedIn to find jobs, or if you are working for a company and they are looking to hire people, they can actually post about job opportunities on LinkedIn. You can use LinkedIn to connect, to build relationships, and to network. And this is where LinkedIn will be of value to you, ladies and gentlemen, as you are just starting your careers, right? So when I was in university, what we used to use LinkedIn for, at that time, LinkedIn was so simple. Like there are a lot of the features it has now, it didn't have back then. But one of the things that we could still do was we could still do research on people on LinkedIn who had interests or careers that we were interested in, and then we could connect with them and then maybe set up a phone call to ask them about the kind of work they do. So that is a great opportunity for you to do research and ask for, they call them informational interviews. It's an interview that gives you information about a career path or about a company or organization or an industry or sector that you are interested in. So you can use it for that. But if you do not yet know or have any specific careers that you are considering, you can still use LinkedIn to connect with people you already know. Remember how I said, because I've traveled so much, LinkedIn is a great place for staying connected with all the people across the world that I've encountered. You can do the same thing. All of us already have networks. It is not some special people who have networks and other people who don't. Each and every one of us, so long as you are a human being and you are part of a society or a community, you have a network. So the people who fall under your network could be your family members, they could be your friends, they could be your colleagues, they could be people you went to church with, they could be people you worked on projects with, right? So those people fall within your network. So you can use LinkedIn to find people who you maybe you went to primary school with somebody and you're like, is this person still around? What are they doing today? Your JSS friends. You can check LinkedIn to see if they are there. And if they are there, you can connect. And maybe one day you can do some work together. So LinkedIn is great for connecting, building relationships, and networking. And then you can also use LinkedIn to learn from people who are sharing their knowledge and expertise, right? So Felicia mentioned that she's a makeup artist as well. If Felicia uses LinkedIn to share a lot of information about makeup and how to, do all those amazing face designs that she does, and you have a little sister who is interested in becoming a makeup artist, she could potentially go to Felicia's page and then learn about all of the different makeup techniques, for example. So LinkedIn is a good place to learn from people who have knowledge and expertise, and that includes yourself. So if you have some knowledge and expertise that you think will be of use to other people, that's something you can share. For instance, most of you have been in the Ahaspora mentorship program. You've been able to connect with interesting people. You've been able to learn a lot of different things. And maybe you want to share that with other people who were not able to join the program. So you could write a short article that talks about, these are the 5 career things I learned from the Ahaspora mentorship program. Or these are the 3 things you need to know about mentorship or finding the right mentor. You have expertise in that because you've lived it and you have experience with it. And so that's something you can share. Now, for some of us, we already know that I want to work for the UN. I want to work for Microsoft. I want to work for NASA. Some of us at a very young age, you have very clear ideas of what you want to do. Now, this is a great opportunity for you to actually follow the information that that organization puts out, or if it's a sector or a specific interest you have, you can go on LinkedIn and then stay connected to get information and news about that organization or company. And then that way you are following their journey so that the day that they post that they are looking for internships, you already know everything about them because you've been following them for a very long time and you know what they value, you know the kind of work that they do, and you also know how you can give some value to them as well. And I talked about how you can also learn a new skill. So we are not going to do a live demo on how to set up an account, because I believe that the mentorship program is going to connect you with someone to run you through that process. So what I will just do is I'll just give you a general overview on how you create an account. And it's really simple. If you have created a Facebook account, either for yourself or for someone else, is very similar to that. Again, the only thing is keep it professional. If you don't take anything from today's session about LinkedIn, just take the phrase, keep it professional. That is the most important thing, right? So when you go to linkedin.com and you select sign up as an option, it's going to pull up this little form. And over here, you will put your first name, then your last name, then you can put your email address or your phone number, it's up to you. And then you can choose a password, right? For the email, if you decide to go with the email, I suggest using an email that is professional, okay? So maybe you are a Star Wars fan and you have an email that is Star Wars 233 the best at gmail.com. That is not the email that you should be using to sign up for LinkedIn, okay? So you want to create a simple professional email, which has your name. It can be your first name and your last name if you want. And then you can use that to sign up for LinkedIn, because remember, you have to keep it professional. Now, signing up for LinkedIn, you can sign up for a free account. When you go through this form, it's going to sign you up for a free account. And then later on, if you want to have access to more features, then they might ask you to pay. But at your stage, I think signing up for the free account is okay, because you will already have access to a lot of different things. You'll be able to see thousands, if not millions of profiles. If you're looking for internships, you'll get information on that. If you're looking for articles, videos, that's already a lot of information. So just sign up for a free account. The other thing that you need to pay attention to as you are signing up, they will ask you to create your profile. Remember how we walked through the different elements of a profile, right? So they'll ask you to upload a profile photo. Same thing again, keep it professional. For LinkedIn, typically your profile photo can typically just be like a headshot. So like from over here up, very simple, very clean. You can wear your nice white shirt if you want. If you're a guy, you can wear with your tie. If you want your nice African print dress that you would wear if you were going to church or something like that, something professional and nice. And then you take a photo and then you put that as your profile photo. The key here is make sure that people can recognize you, so it's easy to know that this is you. Another thing that LinkedIn will ask you to do is to provide a summary. Right. So the summary basically is kind of like a little bio about yourself. It's like, tell us who you are. And so since most of you are in high school to university, you might want to talk about the fact that like what your academic interests are, right? So maybe you are studying general arts and you are focused on literature, you might capture that. Maybe you've won some awards in school and you're an athlete, you could capture that as well. And then you also want to talk about what your career aspirations are. So you're in school right now, but why are you studying general arts? Or what do you hope to be one day? You can capture that as well. If you are looking for an internship or looking to volunteer, you can indicate that information in your summary. So your summary ideally should be about no more than about 40 words, right? So there's usually a limit to that. And then it should just really be, you think about, if I was going to tell the world a few things about myself, what would I want them to know in a professional or academic sense, right? And so that is what you are using the summary for. Now, once you've done that, because you sign up with your email, if you have a school email, you can use it. If you have a work email too, you can use it. What LinkedIn will do is LinkedIn will look through your email. If you give it access, it will look through your email address book, and then it will tell you, oh, Felicia is already on LinkedIn. Do you want to follow her? So LinkedIn will already do the work of identifying people who are in your real life network who are also on LinkedIn. And so it makes it very easy for you to keep track of the people you're interested in or the people you know on LinkedIn and to find out what amazing career exploits they're up to as well. But if maybe you want to start fresh, you can also just start from scratch, right? So you can start from scratch. Maybe you would type in your JSS school name in the search bar and see if there are any of your schoolmates there and then follow them if you want to. You might type in your high school name to see if any of your schoolmates are there and follow them. Or maybe you worked on a church project. You might look to see specific members of that project who might be on there and then follow them as well. So you have the opportunity to build new connections. Now, how can you use LinkedIn, right? So I've talked about some of this already, and I mentioned the fact that you have the opportunity to join groups. So you have groups on Facebook, but groups on LinkedIn are professional groups. So if you are interested in, go onto the groups tab, and then you can do a search to see if there are any engineering groups for, let's say, Ghanaian engineer professionals, and then you can join that group, right? Or you can look to see if there are any groups for literature enthusiasts, right? Across the world. Maybe you don't want to limit yourself to Ghana. You could go look across Africa or across the world, and then you can join such a group. And then that way you have people who have the same interests as you, and you can learn from them. You can talk to them. You can share information. You can share your insights from Ghana and listen to someone share their insights from Kenya, for example. So I don't know if you guys still do pen pals, but when we were in SHS, pen pals were a big thing, right? And the difference was that we didn't do it online. We actually did pen and paper. So you actually write a letter and wait and send it and then wait for it to come back to you and so on. But if you have access to LinkedIn and you have pen pals, you can actually use LinkedIn to stay in touch with schoolmates in other schools, right? Who you may be connected with over inter-houses or inter-school sports competitions, or if you are part of the brilliant science and math quiz people, those kinds of networks. And so it's really, really great for really exploring your interests and finding other people who have similar interests as you. I already talked about how you can use it to find a mentor, also follow a topic, and then share your own opinion, right? So one thing that I always find fascinating is when people ask children about things that are happening in the world. You know, a lot of the times we adults think that children and teenagers don't have opinions about what is happening in the world, but that is not true. And it's always amazing to hear what young people think about what is happening either in their country, in their community, in the world. So you can actually write articles from your perspective as a young African about something that you care about, and you can share that on LinkedIn. So the images here are just to show you what, these are some of the groups that I am part of. So I'm part of the Ghana Professionals Network, which is a worldwide group. It has over 30,000 members. I'm also part of a group. This is a school alumni group, which has about 100 members. And then I'm part of a professional group. This is a former employer of mine, which has over 100,000 members globally, right? So this gives you a sense of the different types of groups that you can join. If you don't find a group that you like, all you need to do is create the group, right? You can just create your own group and then find other people who might be interested in your group. Now, another key thing about using LinkedIn and all social media, actually, all online networks, is create value, right? What do I mean by create value? What I mean by create value is, as you are using these platforms, think about how you can help provide some useful information to people in your network or to someone else. Maybe you are not looking for a job in engineering. Maybe you care more about the environment, right? But maybe somebody in your network is an engineering student who is looking for an internship with an engineering company. So you can still share that job that you see the company post and just alert people. If you know specific people, you can tag them to say, hey, this might be of interest to you, or just share it so that other people can find it. It's also great to share useful articles and links and so on. So this is one example of, this is the article that I was talking about. I wrote this in 2015. And all I did was I gave 8 tips on how to address people when you are emailing them, to address people you don't know when you're emailing them. And this has gotten almost 500,000 views, right? And today, I actually spent some time responding to comments. It has over 60 comments, people from across the world, the Middle East, India, Africa, Europe, the US, all across the world had questions about, okay, so what if I don't know the company, but I know the department, how do I address them? And so this is clearly an article that is valuable because a lot of people are interacting with it and still asking questions from it. And it also gives me an opportunity to offer value to other people based off of things that I learned when I was starting my career, right? So that is one example. And then on the left here, you can see some of the comments that came up as a result of this article. So this is just to give you a sense of how you can create value. If you don't like writing, that's fine. It can be a photo. Maybe you're a great artist. You can create a photo that captures an issue of national importance, or you can come up with a short video that talks about, maybe you want to talk about girls' rights, or you want to talk about why we should offer scholarships to people from XYZ background. Whatever the topic you care about is, you can create content on that and then share value. And then the final thing you get to do with LinkedIn, which is really across the board, is it allows you to cultivate relationships. So in Ghana, we know connections, but we don't really know networking. And LinkedIn is about networking. So what is networking? Networking is really about cultivating relationships. It's taking the connections from just a connection to an actual relationship. And when it comes to cultivating professional relationships, one way to do that is leaving recommendations. So maybe you worked on you're part of a school club and you worked with a girl who was just excellent with organizing. And she tells you that she's looking for a job. She's looking for an internship that has to do with using her organizing skills. You can go and give her an endorsement, right? You can say that giving an endorsement is basically confirming that this person has this skill, right? And so when a recruiter looks at her page and looks at her skills, she'll see that, oh, Amma has gotten 100 endorsements for her organizing skills, which means that she must be a really good organizer. So you can do that. You can also celebrate the milestones of people in your network. So someone just got a new job and posts about it. You can celebrate that moment with them. Somebody passed an exam. You can celebrate that moment with them. And you can also share your own milestones so that other people celebrate you. And then finally, you can join or start conversations. Whenever you don't find content on things you care about, maybe it's because you are the one who's supposed to offer that conversation or offer that content. So when you don't find something you're interested in, don't let that let you down, right? You are a unique person with unique interests. And so all it takes is you actually starting that conversation. And usually over a period of time, you'll find other people who are interested in similar things. Now, the last point, but really the most important, is that you need to know why you are going on LinkedIn, right? I've talked about the different ways that people can use LinkedIn, but you need to think for yourself. okay, so I'm a university student and I'm graduating next year. So maybe I should start using LinkedIn and networking with people so that when I'm ready to start applying for jobs, I can ask them if they know of any interesting jobs in my field. That could be a reason why you would join LinkedIn. You might also join LinkedIn just because you want to stay connected to your high school friends, or you want to stay connected to people you've worked with in a professional sense. You could also just join LinkedIn because you are experimenting. Maybe you don't yet know which career path is for you. And so you want to be exposed to many different career paths and many different types of professionals so that you can see which ones make the most sense for you. Or maybe you just want to find another mentor in a very specific field that you are already certain you're interested in. So your homework is to think about why you want to go on LinkedIn. And if you're already on LinkedIn, think about why you are on LinkedIn and really try to narrow it down to, let's say, 3 things. And then based off of those three things, you can start building your connections, building relationships, looking for content that helps you get close to those goals that you have identified. Great. So that is pretty much it. For other content on career development, Circumspect has a number of free articles on our website. So you can definitely visit circumspect.com to check that information out if you are interested. But that is it for now. I don't know if there are any questions that I can take. We still have a few minutes, right, Felicia?
Yes, we have about 10 minutes. But Jamila, there were 2 questions in the comment section.
Okay.
I'll
Let me
read them
check.
out. Yeah,
Okay.
it says, do most universities have a LinkedIn account? That was from Prince.
Yes, Prince. I do believe that many universities have LinkedIn accounts. I'm not sure about Ghanaian universities. I know Ashesi University definitely has a LinkedIn account, but I'm not sure about the other ones. But generally, the universities outside Ghana, in the US especially, are most likely to have accounts. So that's actually a good point. For those of you who are now looking to go to university, LinkedIn is actually a good place for you to follow the application process. If you follow the organization, which in this case is the university, you can get their updates on when the application is open, when the deadline is coming up. If they share application tips, you can get all that information. Another thing you can do for those of you who are looking to apply to universities abroad is you do a search for people who attended that university already. So maybe you might be looking for Ghanaians who have been to that specific university, and then you can send them a message, a DM, and introduce yourself and let them know that you are interested in attending that school and see if they would be willing to talk to you for a few minutes about their experiences in that school. So that could actually be a very useful way for you to leverage LinkedIn. Yeah, so Prince, thank you for the question. Then Rami, can LinkedIn help you get an opportunity to school in universities outside the country? Okay, so a similar thing to what Prince asked. LinkedIn, think of it as like Google for professionals and students, for your professional and academic career. Think about it in that way, right? So if you're thinking about it in that way, then yes, you will find information about universities outside the country. You might even find information about scholarships. Yes, if you do a search for scholarships, you should probably be able to find information about scholarships or grant opportunities, all of these different things. Anything that has to do with careers, academic careers or professional careers, you are more likely to find it on LinkedIn. So you can do a Google search, but also do a search on LinkedIn, because with LinkedIn, you are probably going to actually have a very specific person who you can then have a conversation with if they are open to it. Even if they are not open to it, I still recommend following the universities that you are interested in, because one of the big challenges with deciding on universities, especially when you are deciding all the way in Ghana and they are all the way in the US, and you've never you've never been to the US, you don't know where the school is located, is that it's very hard to have a sense of what the school culture is, right? So if you follow their LinkedIn page, you'll likely see videos coming up, videos that they post from the school. You probably see interviews with current students. You might see interviews with alumni, and that should help you make your decision easier. Great. Aram says, as a senior high school student, what do you propose we primarily use LinkedIn for? So I think you guys are, as I mentioned, as an SHS student, you are ahead of the curve already, right? Because you are starting very early, and that is good. So what I recommend you use LinkedIn for, I'm just thinking back to when I was in SHS, what were the things that I was thinking about in terms of career? I was probably wondering like what my options were, right? Maybe you have many interests, but you are confused about which one makes sense for you. So I would suggest that you use LinkedIn to explore career options. Don't put yourself into any box. Oh, I have to be a doctor, or I have to be a writer, or I have to be a farmer. No. When you are in senior high school, yes, you might be studying science. And so the thought process is that you are going to end up in a science field. But I can tell you that life can take you on so many adventurous paths, right? So as a science SHS student, go on LinkedIn and look up careers that you just find fascinating, or maybe you've never heard of specific kinds of careers before. So just do a search for like science careers, or do a search for finance careers. Maybe you are a science student, but you really like finance, right? So use it to just explore, to have a good sense of what your options are. And then that way, it will also feed into what you end up deciding on for university and beyond. Yes, so in that space is exploration. Enjoy the exploration, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, don't be afraid to ask questions in the comment section. LinkedIn is kinder compared to Twitter. LinkedIn is kinder. So if you are on LinkedIn, what I suggest doing is look for people who who share information and who engage. Like when people ask them questions, they are likely to respond. And then you can ask them some of your career questions and so on and so forth. That's a good place to do that. Great.
Thank you so much, Jamila. And as you spoke about connection ahead of school, I'll just briefly share my experience because you mentioned that. So when I was preparing for school, honestly, I didn't know anything about schooling outside. Like I was in Cape Coast, all I knew was, school, universities in Ghana, KNUST, Legon, and UCC. But I didn't also know about LinkedIn, but I use Facebook. So I think now that you guys already know LinkedIn, it might benefit you more. So what I did on Facebook was I went to the KNUST Facebook page and looked at students, people who are commenting on their photos and on their posts, and figured out that why don't I start connecting with these people and start building my network before I go to school? So I started friending some of these people, sending them messages, and luckily I got senior students who are already there who shared their experience with me. And one of them is Bright Akir. If you are into the creative arts industry, you know him. So ahead of time, I didn't even know he'll become popular. So Bright on the onset became my friend on Facebook. So when I went to first year, I think after my first week settling in, he came to my dormitory, my room. We had conversation about his course. He was doing painting and I went to do graphic design, but we're in the same faculty. So there were lots of the things I knew already before I went to campus. So settling into KNUST campus wasn't new for me. It wasn't difficult for me at all. Immediately I got to campus, I already had my network. So I get out from my room and I know who to connect with. I meet friends. And what it helped me to do was I built a network outside people from my senior high school. So I got into university with friends from Ebri girls, with from Prempe, from Infantipem. So I'll come out in the evening, sit out and have conversation with these people. And these are the friends I still have now. I don't even have most close connections with people from my senior high schools. And it was good for me. So if you guys are being introduced to LinkedIn now, I'm just trying to let you know some of the opportunities you can get from this. Not necessarily traveling outside to US or UK, but even in Ghana, it becomes very useful. And now I go to Bright shows or exhibition, and he treats me like a VIP. I'm there like, hi Felicia, come over. He hugs me, and I feel special. And this was a connection I wouldn't have gotten if not for the opportunity, the advantages I took of Facebook. So LinkedIn is now well structured. And as Jamila said, like with my work, LinkedIn is always my go-to place. So if I'm looking for resource people for our sessions, I quickly jump on LinkedIn to find information about people. And it makes work very easy, and it allows you to also connect and find work. You're always getting job, suggestions on LinkedIn here and there. So I feel that this was an exciting session, Jamila. We really appreciate your time. I asked people to
Thank
put
you.
out thumbs up, and if you go to the comment section, you could see that our mentees are excited. And I'm sure that by the end of today, those who don't have LinkedIn account will surely start researching and finding a reason to go on LinkedIn. And so before our next session, we can all share our experience from LinkedIn on
Wow.
on our webinar. So thank you so much, Jamila. Guys, I hope
Welcome.
you took Jamila's email address. If you didn't, I'll take it. I'll have her put it in the comment section, the chat session, so that if you have any questions about circumspect or her career, or if you want to start connecting, she'll be one of the first people you can connect to on LinkedIn. And I'm
I'm
also
sending them my LinkedIn. So
okay.
if you
Good.
want to connect with me, you have to join LinkedIn and
Yes.
connect with
So
me.
join LinkedIn and connect with Jamila. Thank you so much. Okay. So as Jamila is wrapping up to leave us, we are going to jump into our next session. But before we do, I'll put this out there before you forget. The key word from this session was keep it professional. So write it in your journals, write it somewhere, keep it in your notepad or anywhere. Keep it professional. So as you are going on to LinkedIn, the key thing you should have at the back of your head is to keep it professional. Okay, so I'm going to introduce our panelists for the next session. We are going into a panel session. Most of you are curious about college, and I could see you started channeling some of those questions to Jamila. And luckily for us, we have 3 students who have that experience or who are already in college and have volunteered to share their experience with us. First of all, we have Ifwan Sam, who is an old student of Achimota College and currently at Cornell University. She's a freshman at Cornell University. Yeah, Eugene, I can see Eugene smile. Eugene is also doing his master's in Cornell. So today is like, hey, a Cornell session. Yeah, we have Ifwa and Saf from Cornell. Ifwa, if you are here with us, you can turn on your video. David will help us with the spotlight. And we have Cecil. Cecil is also a freshman at Columbia University. Cecil is a star, like he's now the star of your generation. He was in the news, he collected awards and all that. I'm sure he'll take a minute to share that with us. Cecil is a mentee. He was a mentee on the year's program with Ahaspora. We also have Peter. Peter, I don't know the name of your university because it's in China, Ching Chong Ching. I don't want to bite my tongue. But Peter is also from Asia. All I'll say is he's from Asia. He went to a university in Asia, and Peter will share details about his college with us. So I'd like to welcome our panelists for today's session. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for joining us. And I really appreciate you making time to join us because I know most of you are on different timelines, but you still make time to join our session today. I'll quickly ask you to introduce yourselves. I tried to do it, but I might not have done justice to all your amazing bios you shared with me. But if you could take a minute each to tell us about yourself so that we know who you are before we jump into the session.
Um, Hello, I'm Peter Alpraco. I joined Ahaspora from 2017 and to 2019, and I received mentorship there. I completed Ahaspora High School. I'm now at a pre-university in China. I'm actually going to go into the university this year. Hopefully in the US, I have some acceptances coming in, and so that's exciting. And yeah, I have interest in robotics. My hobbies are playing chess, and I love reading and listening to music.
Thank you, Peter. Ifwa.
Hello everyone, my name is Ifansa. I'm currently a freshman in Cornell University. I'm affiliated with the College of Engineering. I'm also an old student of Achimota School, and I'm a YYAS 2019 alum. But then I didn't attend the Ghana session. I attended the session in Kenya. Yeah, my interests are primarily in STEM, and I enjoy reading as well and spending time with friends.
Hi,
Yeah,
Cecil. Cecil, you're already getting the fans. Someone is saying, yes, he's a star. And let me tell you, Ifwa is also a star. Ifwa, you also tell us about your stardom.
yeah. So hello, Cecil Kuma. Um, I was part of the Yale Young African Scholars Program for 2019, and afterwards, Ahaspora took us on to like mentor us, and they are a big, they are part of the, they are a big part of the reason why I'm studying in the US right now because of their mentorship support. And my interests are mainly in computer science and robotics and all that stuff. So yeah.
Thank you guys for introducing yourself. I'll just dive right into the conversation. This question will go to Ifwa. Ifwa, at what stage in your life did you start thinking about college and your options?
I'll be so honest with you. I don't think I started thinking about this very early on. I would say like from the onset when I was in SHS, I had made up my mind that I wanted to go to Ashesi. Like if there was a university in Ghana I wanted to go to was in Ashesi because I'd been to the school before and I was really impressed by the campus and how beautiful it was and so modern and like the kind of research, the kind of projects that the students there were doing. And then I would say in Form 2, I had the opportunity of attending a seminar where I got to learn more about SAT and what's applying to schools outside of Ghana entailed. So the kind of processes that were involved in it. And to be honest, before I didn't think it was such an achievable thing. I didn't think it would be possible, to like gain admission to a highly selective school in the US like Harvard or UPenn or any Ivy League. I thought like these were very exclusive schools that sort of maybe only select people could enter. But then when I attended the seminar, I got to find out that it's actually possible and that these schools are looking out for promising students who they believe have a very high potential of succeeding. And so that really got me interested and I started preparing towards the SAT. And yeah, I would say that was mainly how it started for me. And fortunately for me, I also happened to know some people who were already enrolled in some schools in the US, like Duke University. And then I was also able to connect with some old students of Achimota School. I'm an old student of Achimota School, so I was able to connect with some of the old students who had also made it into schools outside. So that was roughly the trajectory of my exposure to colleges in the US and the application process in general.
Okay, thank you, Ifwa. And Peter, I'll let you pick up from Ifwa, but my question will be specific. You did a pre-uni at an Asian university. What was the inspiration? Why Asia? How did you get to know about that opportunity?
So I got to know about United World College, China. When I went to YYGS, there were, I think, 1/3 of the students at YYGS went to one form of United World College. And so it's basically a movement that tries to bring people from different races and different beliefs together to foster like a united world and teach us about like sustainability and how to make the earth and the world a better place. So I heard of the idea and I was very impressed. So I went through the application process and then I was placed in China. So there are 18 campuses around the world, in Africa, in Asia, in Europe, and in America. So I went to China and I was supposed to do a 2-year course in the International Baccalaureate. And so that entails like more hands. They give a more hands-on approach to learning. You do projects yourself. You start projects by yourself, and so it's not like you go to the lab and then the teacher has written like the practicals that you're supposed to do. You know the topic that you're learning, and then you design your experiment, and then you do it, and then you write a report about it. So that approach to learning was very impressive, and so I guess I got what I wanted when I went there. I I got closer to like being more sustainable, and I had the feel of that practical approach to learning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Peter. I like that you said there was a practical approach. That's some of the things that benefits you get from schooling outside in Ghana. Cecil, if one says she didn't really start thinking about going into like her college application early, what about you? What was your experience?
Yeah, it's quite similar because I'm very pessimistic. So I didn't believe for a second that I'll get into an Ivy League school or something like that. I was just targeting maybe a Sheffield or something like that. So it was around the time that my dad died, and I attended one of these seminars about like the Young African Scholars Program. So attending that program was like the first step where I got to learn more about colleges abroad. I met admissions officers in person. I could ask them all the questions I had. And from there, that's what really sparked everything.
Okay. Thank you. I wouldn't talk about the YAS program. I'll let one of you volunteer to talk about the YAS program because you all keep referring to the YAS program. And this batch of mentees are Ahaspora mentees, and I don't think most of them know about the YAS program. So if one of you would volunteer and tell us something about the YAS program and your experience on the program. I know it's slightly off the topic, but because we are all referring to it, let's just clear the air before we move on with our conversation. So I don't know who wants to do that.
If I go ahead.
FYS.
Okay, sure. So as I mentioned earlier, I didn't attend my YYAS session in Ghana. I went all the way to Kenya. And I would say it was 1 week. It was a very intense program. I did not expect it to be so, but it was fun. And there was a lot that I gained from it personally. I mean, friendships, meeting with people from across the continent. I mean, not just Kenyans, because I mean it was held in Kenya, so most of the participants were Kenyans, but then like people from other parts of Africa and hearing how it's like in their countries, and also meeting bilingual people. So that's like something I really enjoyed about the YYAS program, and also interacting with current students in Yale University. I would say was also very insightful. I mean, I got to learn from them personally how their experiences was like in Yale for them, and it was really eye-opening. I mean, like I feel like it's very different hearing from an individual what their experience is like as compared to doing an internet search and like reading basically facts, some random facts about Yale. It's more relevant to find out like an experience from an actual student in the college. So that's like really a main takeaway I got from the program.
Alrighty. Thank you for does any of you want to touch up on it? Like add on to that? Okay, then I'll just go to my next question. So, Cecil, how did you end up? So, how many university did you actually apply to, and how did you end up deciding to school abroad? Okay, hold on. Let me go back. let's do this before we go to the schools you selected. How did you end up deciding to school abroad? What inspired you?
Okay, so like I said, like most of my interests are like maybe like aerospace, um, aeronautics, robotics, computer science, and we don't really have the resources here in most of our universities to like really handle that. So I knew that at some point, if not for undergrad, maybe grad school, I would have to like go abroad to study. So that was really my mindset, and that's how it started.
That's how it started. Okay. Peter, you?
Yeah, as you said, you get like more exposure because like some of the the stuff in the laboratories in Ghana were made in like the 90s, the late 90s, and you go to like an university or a facility outside the country, and then you're getting like high level. I mean, for example, like 4G and 5G even. Even the Ghanaian 4G isn't as fast. So you go outside and like you experience that there's more facilities there, and then you're going to be better off. And yeah, if you have that opportunity to go to an outside university.
Okay. Thank you, Peter. So can you describe the process? How did you prepare towards selecting your colleges? How many colleges did you apply to, and how did you end up deciding on the one you went to?
Okay, so I would say basically what I was looking for was a school that was renowned for its research and like a school that I know I would have access to many opportunities like research, being able to do undergraduate research and internships. And I don't know whether I'm biased to say this, but then I feel like generally Ivy League schools and generally selective schools are schools that fits in this category for me. And so those are the schools that ultimately made it in my list, in the list of schools I applied to. I wouldn't say I considered location so much. Yeah, because I'll say like most of the Ivy Leagues are on the East Coast, and it tends to be like very cold there in the winter. Yes, but location wasn't something I really considered. I didn't really factor in. Yeah, so mainly I would say it was opportunities that really informed my school list.
Okay. Peter, you?
It was mostly financial aid. So like my first criteria was financial aid, and then the second thing was student size. When I was searching, I didn't look for like a really big university because I like to like keep the social life tight, and so I love it when I know people by their first name and stuff, and so that was a factor for me. And then also yeah, opportunities, access to opportunities, definitely you have to like consider the type of collaborations that the university has with companies. So you something that you can do, you can like go on Google Maps and then you can search like the companies that you would want to work for, and then search where their factories are set up if you want to work in a factory, or like you want to help there, or you're someone who wants to like work in a hospital. You find out the number of hospitals there, and then most of the times the school has some sort of connection with these facilities, and so that is also a factor. I didn't consider weather. I didn't consider like some people really consider the geography of the place in terms of like access to parties, restaurants and stuff. I'm having fun. Some people need to go out and like visit places to have fun. Yeah, so you can also consider that. I'm not stopping you, but yeah.
Okay, thank you guys. So you're all talking about opportunities, but I know you have to go through a process to be able to do this application. At a point, Cecil spoke about SATs. So Cecil, can you elaborate on that? Talk about SAT, the actual preparation, your essay writing, SATs. I don't know, but you tell us because you mentioned that. So we are curious to know.
Yeah, So the SAT is basically more about like aptitude and reasoning. So it's not really, even though like most people have to like go for classes and stuff, it's really something that you just have to practice a lot, do a lot of practice tests. But I don't think you can really study for it. But basically, you just sign up for classes, and then after you practice test and all that, you can just register for the test and then take it and stuff like that.
Okay. Efwa, how was it? How was preparing for school, writing your essays, the SATs? How many times did you write the SATs? Can you share that experience with
I
us?
would say it was a very tough time for me. I think I was in Form 3 then.
Mm-hmm.
And like I had to juggle that with preparing for WASI. And then I was also a member of my school science and math quiz team. That's like an extra, like that's an additional headache on its own. And so like having to juggle with all those things and also prepare for the SAT was something I would say wasn't so easy. But then I knew what I wanted. I knew where I ultimately wanted to end up. So I was willing to make that sacrifice.
Okay.
Yeah, and I took the SAT twice.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote in October and I took it again in December. That was like generally the general SAT, and I also took the subject test.
Mm-hmm. Good. So I'm reading comments. I'm reading the comment section. Cecil, there's a comment that says that you make it all seems easy. Yes, Cecil is special. That's all I'll say. He's special. So Cecil, tell us, like, was it easy for you as it seems that writing your SAT?
Yeah, I would say relative to the other parts of the application process, that was the easiest part because
Okay.
writing the essays and putting together an application like an activities list, getting recommendation letters, and I think that was the tough part. But basically, the exam itself wasn't. I would say it wasn't as difficult as the rest. And I had to take subject tests too, as well as the said. Basically, I didn't trust like my transcript because like it's not really, maybe it's not up to the standard of like the high schools in the US. So I took like subject tests in physics and math level 2, just so that they could see like my level in those subjects. I think. Yeah.
Okay, Peter, you have been doing the application for a very long time. So yes, I really want you to tell us your experience.
I think Cecil doesn't do the SAT justice. He makes it sound very easy. I agree with the comment. Yeah, because I mean, yeah, he is right though that you can't like go to classes for the SAT because what you're going to, the most effective component of the class is that you're going to have like practice tests every day. And so I think the SAT deals with like more with recognizing patterns in the questions and then knowing what to take at like every point. And so yeah, if you're able to like commit and like do 10 practice tests and go through all of them, I think you're on the way to get above 1450. You can, yeah, so it's just like if you're able to practice, I see why he's saying that if you're able to like practice a lot, you're able to do that. And also, yeah, what he said, he touched on something about like the transcript that people sometimes forget about that. They're like, nah, I just need the SAT and then I'm done. I just need a 1600 and I'm done. But then but like at my school, the teachers stressed a lot on like our transcript. And so during that time during like the time for SATs, we had our final exam. And so the teachers were like, well, if you fail your final exam, you can bid your college application goodbye because we will not help anyone who gets bad grades. And that's true too, because like if you're not able to prove to the university that you're good in class and you are just good in a test that takes like 4 hours to write on a Saturday, that doesn't speak. And I think most most admissions officers are like, we trust your transcripts more than your SATs. I don't know how true that is. If you get a 1600, then definitely they can't trust your transcripts. But then that I'm just saying that is also equally important. And for the college application, I think, yeah, there are lots of challenging stuff. And for example, searching for colleges and writing like essays, supplemental essays. But what I think Auntie Felicia, you told them something that they should write in their books, their diaries. That thing really helped me, like writing bits of information about the schools. It helps to make your supplemental essays feel personalized. If, for example, you research something about the school, a research that one of the professors is doing, you can use it to write your supplemental essay, and then they'll know that you're really interested in the university. Yeah, so don't lose those diaries, and yeah, just
Speaking of diaries, like
yeah.
it's my life. That's the
Unfortunately,
only
the one
way I go through my day. Like there's never a time I walk around with my mind like without my. I have like these old ones. I'm always buying new ones because whenever I'm talking, I take notes. When then my boss calls me or gets on the phone with me, I pick up my diary. And even when I'm not on my diary, I have another WhatsApp account that I keep privately. So as I'm on phone, I WhatsApp myself to the other number, taking note of all this. I just start a chat with a date, who I'm talking to, and I start taking notes because it's very useful. And it's always a good way to reference. I can always go back, take a sneak peek and come back. So if you're going to do that, you have to, especially when it comes to, I'm jumping ahead of myself. I know this is for you, but I'm going to talk about writing a bit. If you're supposed to write your essay, sometimes we forget the things we do. Like last year was COVID. It was crazy for most of us. But it was until the end of the year that I began appreciating the things I'd done throughout the year. Unfortunately, I wasn't writing my experiences, so I started doing that this year. Any key experience or any key thing I do, I take note of it because that allows you to even appreciate life. So if you are supposed to put together an essay about yourself or like for school, you need to talk about some of the things you've engaged in. And there are some awesome things that we do that we even forget about it. And that might even stand out in your application. So whatever happens in the day, you come back home, pick your diary, take a note, or find a sheet of something. So I think we all need to start journaling. It's very good and it's very helpful. So thank you, Peter, for mentioning that. I'm going to take a few questions from the chat session before I continue with what I already have. So Kirsten asks that, what type of scores or GPAs and extracurricular activities do I need to make it into an Ivy League school? Cecil, I'll have you take that because you've been quiet for a while.
Okay. I'll say maybe we attach too much importance to the SAT, I think. Because even like this year and last year, I think many colleges are no longer considering the SAT as much because of the pandemic. And you have schools like the University of California that are scrapping the test totally because like it tends to favor maybe wealthy students over those from poorer backgrounds. But basically, yes, just do a lot of practice and try and get the best score possible. I would say something from 14, 15 and above is cool. But I have a friend with a 13, 20 who got into Cornell. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes we place too much emphasis on the SAT. As Peter said, the GPA is very, very important because it shows what you can do in an academic setting, like in a school. So if based on that, you're not even standing out, it's not your SAT score that's going to see. So that's a key factor. And recommendation letters as well. And then the extra characters. Just pursue what you're interested in. It's so that like your passion will shine through the application, I think, rather than doing things that you think will impress them. Yeah.
Thank you, Cecil, for sharing that. There's another question here. Which is better to do, early decision or regular decision? Ifwa.
I think it rests on the individual. From what I know, early decision is binding, and so it's where you are really sure and certain that it's the school you are applying early decision to is a school you really want to end up in ultimately. Because once they accept you, I don't think it's possible to rescind the offer. I mean, so I'll say early decision is, well, it's a good thing. It's a good avenue that you could use if you are really passionate about getting into a school and you're sure that your application is strong enough. Yeah, definitely go for early decision and give it a shot. Yeah, and I think the chances, I'm not really sure whether it's relatively easier or harder to get in ED or regular, but okay. I think I saw Peter's hand.
Peter's hand went
I was
up.
saying, I was saying that it's important that you have to check out the financial the finances of the school, if they're like need blind or need based, because sometimes a school might take you in early decision and they might not meet your full financial requirement, and since it's legally binding you have to go. So that's very important. Like, check if they're going to meet all your financial requirements before you commit to that school. That's what I wanted to add to that.
Okay, thank you. And I'll take the last question from the chat. The person that asked, what is your experience with schooling abroad? How is life out there, considering that you are from Africa? This is a sensitive issue, so I guess all of you will touch a bit on it. So let's start with Ifwa. If I start, then Peter will talk, then Cecil.
Okay, this is a very interesting question. This is a question even before I ultimately came here in the US, I had been asking people because I just wanted to know how it was like. Like, I have been in the US before, and it's a setting where you are in the minority as a Black person, and it's a different experience than being in Ghana, because being in Ghana, I mean, everyone else around you is Black, so you don't feel it. But then when you come here, it's like your race or your Blackness suddenly like really dawns on you, I would say.
Someone said I didn't know I was Black till I went to America.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But then I would say, like, I don't think I allow it to really bother me as much. I try not to think about it. I try not to think about it as a reason why I'm inferior to someone or I can't perform as well as another person, I would say. And I also like to touch on like racism, because it's like something I really feared like before coming here. And I honestly I haven't experienced it yet on campus. I would say that the college campuses tend to be really embracing of diversity and respectful of individuals of different backgrounds. And so yeah, just feel free to do whatever you want to do, pursue your aims and your passions while you're in college in the US. It's not really a big deal or something you should be so worried about.
Okay, thank you. For Peter, how was yours in China? What your experience in China?
It was crazy. It was there were mixed reactions. Like, outside the school, it was mixed reactions. Either someone absolutely loved you or someone didn't want to come close to you. My Chinese isn't that good, but then I realized I can know if you say Black or if you say African, or yeah. And so I realized I was able to know when people were speaking about me, and then I would reply to them in Chinese, and then they would stop. I had this boy run after me for like 2 minutes because he thought I knew LeBron James, and so he grabbed the picture for his social media. I had a child ask me if I ate too much chocolate and that's why I'm Black. There are like a lot of things that you might experience. People grab your hair to feel the texture because they haven't seen a Black person before. And on campus, it's normally cool. There was one time that a cockroach came into the room and then everyone went crazy. They were all running away from the cockroach. And I was like, this is just a cockroach. Anka. If you were a bed bug, and what would you do? So I skillfully grabbed a piece of paper and then got the cockroach out. And people were looking at me like I'm some form of Tarzan, and they hadn't seen anything like that before. So for radical racism and like discrimination, I wouldn't say even with all you hear about China on the news, I personally didn't like experience that sort of discrimination, possibly because of where I was. I can't speak for the whole of China. And so for racism, I didn't encounter that much. Mostly I was treated as royalty and everyone wanted to grab a picture with me.
That's good to know. So are you outside or you're doing online sessions?
Yeah, I'm here right now. But I wanted to add to what it was said
Okay.
about like the Black community and stuff. I think that's part of what you should, like the research you should do when you're selecting colleges. Because I use LinkedIn to reach out to current Ghanaian students in like Columbia, Cornell, Yale and stuff. Because I knew I would need like a support system, like a community. Maybe we could get wache and stuff together to eat. Because like getting used to the food outside is also like a big thing. So I think research, when you're researching your colleges, you should also look into how you get a sense of community in that college. Like, do a lot of Ghanaians go there and stuff like that. And to add to that question about ED versus regular, I would say that like from my research, early decision like gives like way greater chances of acceptance than regular decision. Just that you have to like sign a contract and it's binding and stuff. Because I did ED, so yeah.
Okay. I was going to end my questions on the chat session because my time is even up. So Eugene, pardon me, let me take 5 or 10 more minutes from your time. I beg you. I'll take this last question, then I'll go to the final question for the session. However, because today's session was about LinkedIn, I'm happy Cecil mentioned that he used LinkedIn, and that means he has a LinkedIn account. So Cecil, if you do, Peter, if you do, please, if you don't mind, share your LinkedIn links on the chat session so that you guys can be one of the few first connections we'll have on LinkedIn when we start. Those of us who don't already have, and those who already have LinkedIn accounts can just follow you and chat with you with follow-up questions. This question says, are you schooling on a full, I think the person was trying to say a full scholarship? If not, then how do you survive your everyday life? If are you on a full scholarship?
Okay, sorry.
No, I've been asking if we're like everyone is always going first. Cecil, you go first this time round. Are you on a full scholarship? If not, how are you surviving?
Yeah, I'm definitely on a full scholarship. Yeah. I think like college in the US is way too expensive. Even if you get like 95%, that 5% entails a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you have to like strive to do your best and put your financial documents together. Make sure you submit everything early when you're applying so that you can consider everything at the time that they admit you, so you can get the best person.
Okay, if are you?
I'm not on a full scholarship. I'll say my tuition is 98% covered. My cost of attendance is about 98% covered, but usually it's an approximation. So it may end up seeming like a full scholarship though in most cases.
Okay. Peter.
Yeah, my school is outrageously expensive. I'm on a full scholarship with stipends and everything. So I don't need to like work to get pocket money.
Or anything. Okay, so we're all going for a full scholarship, right? Okay, so I'll do my last question. Guys, keep your questions coming. I think Peter, Cecil, and Ifa will take time to answer some of the questions in the chat session. Also, we are encouraging LinkedIn. So follow them on LinkedIn. Create a LinkedIn account and create a connection with them and start chatting. So my very last question is, how was your support system? Who were those involved in your entire application process? Did you do it entirely by yourselves, or you got help from someone? How was the support system like? Cecil, you go this time. Okay, Peter, you start.
So we have a college counselor. We had to sign a document that basically said that we wouldn't get help because they found out that some of the Chinese students, if you've watched Operation Varsity Blue, some of the Chinese students got companies to help them write their essays and help them clean up stuff. Let me just put it that way. So we signed a document to not do that and not involve anyone. And then, yeah, I wrote my essays myself during the summer break that we got. I think that is very important to like start during the vacation and then do some research on your schools. And then I built my first list, and then we kept fixing it there. My counselor was very a mentee at Ahaspora. He was very supportive and helpful in terms of proofreading, in terms of suggesting that he told me once that I should scrub the whole essay, that it doesn't it's not up to my standard,
Wow.
and I had to cancel it and write it again. So yeah, that was very good. And during the acceptances and rejection, he also helped, and we realized that he was giving me the same advice that I gave him last year when he was facing challenges, and we recorded the messages, and it was funny. So yeah, keep your friends close to you. And also, I think people at the hospital are very helpful in terms of like proofreading. And yeah, just try to be original. You don't want to be in trouble if you go and like copy paste and anything. That's gonna harm you for like many years.
Cecil, how was your support system? Who are those involved?
Yeah, at first I had like zero support, so it was very stressful. Like I had sleepless nights and stuff, writing essays. But luckily I had the opportunity to work directly with the founder of Ahaspora, Christabel. That's so like she was like my personal mentor. She would set up meetings and we'd go out, and she'd take a look at the essay and say, "Now, and she tell me to scrap the entire essay, and I'll start again," and stuff like that. So she really like pushed me through like the entire process, checked my essays and all that stuff. I'll say that was like the big factor, like the big help, especially with the essay.
Thank you, Cecil, for sharing. Yes, so reach out for help. Like in this world, I think there's this thing about Ghanaians and Africans, especially when we want to travel. We don't talk about it too. We wait till we are in the plane and the plane is about to take off and they say, turn off your phones before you say, I'm leaving for America. Like, I don't know why we believe in witches and all that. Yes, I know we all have our beliefs, but shout out for help. If you need help, talk about it. I'm not going to take your America away from you. I'm not taking your UK away from you. All I'll do is support you and help you get to where you want to go to. So look out for help. If I tell us about your support system.
Yeah, I just want to add something to what you said. I think it's very important. Like it's a key skill to develop. Asking for help. Yeah, it's really encouraged here. I mean, if you need help, you should always reach out to someone. That's very key. And so about my support system, it was like a very extensive one. Like I don't think I will be able to fully acknowledge like the number of people who helped me in the process of my college application, because it really was a very wide one. It spanned from my teachers, the teachers who wrote my recommendation for me, and also my counselor. They have to like send a report about your performance in school and such. And then also, I would say even alumni from my school, as I mentioned earlier, who were also enrolled in schools outside. I used to frequently talk to them about the process in general, how school was like, how school is like outside. And then also they used to give me feedback on my application essays. Yeah, I would say that was mainly it. And then also my family. I can't like go without mentioning my family. Yes, for the support, like yes, through the stress of it and like feeling like giving up and not knowing whether you should still keep on doing it or not. And when the SEC scores came out and it's not really as you expected, I mean, they're always there to, and you can always fall on them to like get that emotional support and encouragement. Yeah, and I would say my friends as well from school for their feedback on my essays, and definitely Vira AS and Ahaspora. Yes, I got a waiver for my SAT from Ahaspora. I remember that. I think for my SAT subject test. Yes, yes. So that was my support system.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for making time to come. Like, I've really, really enjoyed this session. I don't think any of our mentors or facilitators could have delivered this session as well as you've done. We've actually heard it from the horse's own mouth, and we really appreciate your time. So I'm going to wrap this up by saying, yes, find a good support system, ask for help. If what said talked about family, your parents is key. Some of you start your application process without informing your parents. And from my experience with doing this for 5 years, I've been chatting with parents at 2 a.m., 1 a.m. I remember there was this time I was coming from work. God, I was so tired. And one mother was like, oh, we need to pay for the CSS form. Auntie Felicia, I don't have a Visa card. Can you pay? I'll send you the money tomorrow. Oh, I was even upset with the mother, madam, it's 10:30. Oh. I'm close from work. She was like, Auntie Felicia, I beg you. So I had to stop, come home, stop whatever I was doing, get behind my computer at 11 and make payment. So the help is there. We are there to help you. But you need to engage your parents because they are always, the passion they put into supporting you guys to go to school. You have no idea, even behind your back. I still chat with your mom, I still have her number. Once in a while, she comments on my WhatsApp status and I do comment on hers. So we keep the relationship. We work as a team. So please find a support system, start journaling, and stay connected to your friends, your family, your counselors, and everyone. So thank you. And this is the end of this session. We are going to move quickly to our next session, but keep your comments coming in the chat session. I think I'll ask Cecil, Ifwa, and Peter to spend a few more minutes to answer some questions and respond to your messages. I think you all enjoyed it and they'll just be here for us. We have another amazing person also from Cornell University, but this time around, he's a master's student in Cornell. He's into real estate. We have Eugene. Eugene is an Ashesi alumni, and he's volunteered to take us through setting up a LinkedIn account. Jamila told us all about the importance of LinkedIn, why we need to find a LinkedIn account. And I still remember the reason why you need to have a LinkedIn account. So after you found that reason, you need to actually create an account. So Eugene is going to take over from now till 6:20. He'll take us through step-by-step processes of setting up a LinkedIn account. So if you have 2 devices, I think you can even take advantage of this session, quickly jump onto your other device and start creating your account. If not, take a notebook, a pen or a paper and start taking it. So Eugene, it's your turn.
Hi everyone. As Felicia rightly introduced me, I'm Eugene Afrani. I'm a master's student in Cornell University, and if Ifwa is on the line, Ifwa, let's connect and maybe catch coffee sometime. I've heard a lot about you. I mean, I would like to meet you in person. So let's do connect after this. Anyway, yeah, but I'm gonna take you through setting up a LinkedIn account. But before I start, I can't like overemphasize the importance of LinkedIn. As a student and also as a working professional, and even also now, I mean, as a student in undergrad, as a working professional, and then now a student again, LinkedIn has been like my go-to for a lot of things, for a lot of networking things, for getting to know people, finding more about companies, and also just paying attention to what's happening in the world. So a lot of people would go to Instagram in the morning when they wake up, or they'll go on Twitter, but I would usually go on LinkedIn first because I do follow a lot of companies, and it's where I get a lot of news and updates on what these companies are doing or what people are doing. So I do like to go to LinkedIn a lot. So I don't know, Felicia, can you share the slides so I could just do a quick run through, then I would move, yeah.
Eugene, give me a few seconds. Let me grab it.
All right.
For you.
No worries.
Okay.
But yeah, whilst Felicia shares the slides, please feel free to interject if you have any questions on LinkedIn or how, setting it up, the reason why she set it up. If you have some personal questions on how LinkedIn has helped me, I have so many stories, but based on your questions, it will help me filter on some of the stories I should tell on the importance of LinkedIn and how it's been so beneficial. But yeah, just to get you people interested in LinkedIn a bit more, as a master's student, I need to do a mandatory internship, and the internship search in the US is very complex. Aside like putting out your job applications on these platforms, you will also need to more like network, actively networking. And even as an undergrad, not even as a high school student, networking is very key. Like I can't overemphasize the importance of networking. And through LinkedIn, I was able to connect with a lot of people from big companies, and that has led to my internship this summer. So my internship this summer, the conversation or the relationship started from LinkedIn. And it was just even me having a strong LinkedIn profile and the person being interested in me, because no one would be willing to talk to you if you have a really shitty, excuse my French, but if you have a shitty LinkedIn profile. So treat your LinkedIn profile just like the way you treat your Instagram or your Twitter. I'm not saying go and put your fancy, sexy photos on LinkedIn. It has to be professional, as Jamila said. It needs to be super professional, but give it as much attention as you give all the other social media platforms. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick run through the slides. Felicia, can you please go to the next slide? I think you could go to like the third slide, because I think Jamila has covered why LinkedIn. So,
Does this work?
No, the one before, sorry.
Okay.
So yeah, some basic things you will need, or some of the things you need to put together before setting up a LinkedIn profile. Just ignore the at least 50 connections for now, and I'll come back to it. But you do need to have a good description, a good descriptive bio. So you need to have more like, I will call it somewhat of a 5-line. It could be more. Like mine is small, but I mean, at the stage you are in, I don't think you guys have done, maybe some of you have done so much, but like, yeah, I think I've had a LinkedIn profile for like 7 years. So, and I've done quite a lot from working, schooling and all. So mine is a bit more, but it should chronicle your journey up to where you are. And so that's your bio. But I mean, at this stage, you could have a bio that's like strong 5-sentence that speaks to where you are, where you want to go, and where you want to go, and things you like doing, and things that would help you get to where you want to go to. So I mean, I will take you through mine just to give you guys a good sense of how a bio should look like. And also, you should have a list of your achievements, extracurricular activities, skills, projects, interests, and a well-written CV. The list of achievements and so on, never downplay any experience. LinkedIn is like, how do I put it? It's like your personal website. So never downplay any experience. Most of the time, as a Ghanaian, sometimes you do some little thing and you think, oh, this is nothing. It's not deep. That's the phrase, it's not deep. But it might not be deep to you, but the way you communicate it through LinkedIn can make it, I mean, it might be deep to someone else. I did stuff back in even sometimes high school, some leadership positions and all that. I thought, oh, this one is just even my boarding house. I wasn't school prophet. Maybe I was dumb monitor. Oh, it's not deep, right? But when you start talking about leadership and start talking about some of the things you've done, some of the people you'll be talking to or be networking with will see this as a relevant experience. So never downplay any experience you have. So think of some of the achievements, all the awards you got, all the extracurricular. So you're in the drama club, you're in the debate club, you're in science and math and so on. Like anything you've done that speaks to your interest in who you are as a person, add it in there. Your skills, I think LinkedIn has an algorithm that allows you to like check some skills. So you can use that algorithm based on your interest and the skill sets. The skill sets that you have, right? Projects as well. Maybe you're in school, you're doing a project, or you're doing a project on, if you're a science student, maybe you're doing a project on maybe photosynthesis. Pardon me, I mean, it's been a while, but like you're doing a number of those projects, right? Document it, have a journal, as Felicia was saying, do have a journal. This is the point where you go into your journal and, oh, I've done ABC projects, and have it organized well in LinkedIn. And your interest, right? Your interest should be there. So maybe in my case, I'm really interested in real estate. Right when you get to my LinkedIn profile, it's clear, like there's no two-way, right? So it's very purpose-driven, right? And that's why you need to put down your interest so that anyone coming to your LinkedIn profile will know that, oh, this is Eugene. He's really interested in real estate. And these are some of the other things he's also interested in. So that should also be there. A well-written CV should, so the CV, having a well-written CV will just help you kind of like transfer the data you have on your CV into your LinkedIn, right? The LinkedIn is more like your digital CV as well. It's your digital website, digital CV, however you want to consider it, but it's more of like, yeah, more of a digital CV. So you should have a well-written CV that you can transfer onto LinkedIn. And also LinkedIn would allow you to like attach your CV. I personally don't have my CV on LinkedIn because of personal reasons. I don't want my CV to be out there too much. But also I've seen people who've had their CVs on LinkedIn and they've gotten a lot of opportunities from having their CVs on LinkedIn. So yeah, we can move on to the next slide.
Is that okay?
Yes. So to set up a LinkedIn profile, it's just like creating any social media account. It's actually no rocket science. It's very simple. You could just, I was going to share my screen, but then I don't want to create a new LinkedIn account, but it's just simple. You should have an email, an active email. And I think at these stages of your life, and also with the how common social media is now, every social media is connected to an email. So you should have an active email that you remember the password, and you can use that to create your LinkedIn account. You can also use your phone number. Yeah, so it's very simple. You create an account. But just to add, one of the things you also need when creating a LinkedIn account that wasn't in the list is you need a professional photograph. No sexy photograph, no photograph like posing, like no photograph. I would personally recommend a photograph above like
Your butt.
up, right? No one wants to see how sexy your body is. No one wants to see they want to see your smile. They want to see that eye connection, right? I wouldn't say go and take like one of your passport pictures. I mean, passport pictures, a lot of us have straight faces, like, okay, as Ghanaians, we say, on your face. But like, you should have a picture where you're showing a good smile. You are looking good. Your hair is like well done. You have a good haircut. You don't have a bushy beard as I have right now. Everything you're well kept, right? That when someone sees you, they're like, oh yeah, that boy looks serious, even if maybe in real life you're not serious or you're attempting to be serious. At least your picture would give the person a reason to go into your profile and even, let's say, reply your message, right? So it's pretty simple. I will take you. So yeah, just enter your details and it's pretty much created for you. Right after this page, when creating an account, usually if you're creating it on your phone, it would ask you if you want to, if LinkedIn should have access to your contact. And what happens is that if LinkedIn has access to your contact, it will just go through all your contacts and show you the people you know that are on LinkedIn so that you can instantly send connections to them. You can decide to skip that step and rather go straight into your LinkedIn profile. Can we go to the next slide, please? I think I've covered this, so we can go to the next. So yeah, you can decide to skip all that process and then go straight into the main LinkedIn homepage or window, right? And there you can upload your picture. There's a part above the picture that's the banner. I think it's quite same on what you have on Facebook. So you have this banner. I think the color is blue, light blue. There are 3 colors there, right? I hope everyone can see that. The banner above the profile picture. No, like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so that's the banner. And what you can usually put on your banner, a lot of people leave that banner empty, but one of the things that I have learned recently, I just put up a banner there myself, but one of the things I've learned, for me in real estate, or me as a working professional, it's advised to put, let's say, a market. When I say a market, so let's say, maybe the New York market, right? If I want to work in the New York market, it will be nice to put like the New York skyline, right? When I say skyline, so let's say the picture of the building. When I go to my LinkedIn profile, you would see a picture of the New York skyline. If you want to work in Accra, like you can put a picture of the Accra skyline. if you want to work, or you can just put a picture of your university. And some of these universities have like really great photos of like the university. So if you're in Ashesi, you can put a picture of Ashesi. If you're in Achimota, you can put a picture of Achimota. If you're in Prempeh or Pogwa or Presec and like they're good friends, you can just put a picture of that. If you're in high school, you can use a picture of your high school photo. If you are in university, you can use a picture of your university photo. If you're working professional, you can use a picture of like maybe the markets you are actively working in or the markets you want to work in. You upload your profile picture as well. And I think that is pretty straightforward as well. So yeah, you upload your profile picture and then you put in your details. So I think from this point, can you give me sharing privileges so I can just go ahead and also, if you could give me sharing privileges so I could share my screen. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm unmuting myself. So I was trying.
No worry.
Yes, I'm trying to do that, but is that okay? I can keep on navigating for you whilst we figure that out.
Okay. So the remaining parts I would so the remaining parts. Okay, I'll cover then I'll cover the CV quickly, then we can go back to LinkedIn. So on your CV, you have your header, your full name, which the header part of your CV, which has your full name, your address, your LinkedIn, the link to your LinkedIn profile is very key. You always keep the link to your LinkedIn profile because that's one of the professional digital presence you have. You don't want when someone searches for you, the person will take you to the person, your Instagram. Like my Instagram is personally clean, but I know a lot of you or a lot of we young people have like really things that are on our Instagram that we might not want people who we might be working with or people who want to know professionally to be looking at, right? So have the link to your LinkedIn on there. So then when the person sees the link to your LinkedIn, the person can click on it and it will take the person to where you want the person to focus on. Also, you should have your contact on your CV, your phone number and your email. For your email, I know a lot of people have emails that could be very funny. Sexy mama or papa don or like some of those emails. Your email should have your name, right? So if you are called Eugene Afrani, it could be E Afrani, it could be E.N. Afrani, it could be like her, but it should be something that when I look at your email, I know, oh, this email is for ABC person, right? So yeah, your email should have your name in there. And the remaining part of your CV should communicate your work experience, your interest, and all of that. You can categorize it. If we have a few more minutes, I would also take you through my CV. Look like, but without further ado, I'll just run you through my LinkedIn so that.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you all see my screen?
It's not coming. It's not yet on.
Okay.
Okay, now we can see it.
Okay. So quickly, this is the homepage of the link to LinkedIn. This was how your homepage will look like. You're allowed to customize it a bit based on the data you want on there or the information you want to put there. But as I was saying, the banner here is the market you want to be working in. For the summer, I'm going to be working in Texas, Austin. So this is a picture of the Texas, Austin skyline. And yeah, so that anyone who knows Texas, Austin, once the person sees, oh, okay, yeah, Eugene is interested, because I'm into real estate. Eugene is interested, I'm into real estate and finance. So Eugene is interested in working in this market. Yeah, and you can all see my profile picture. This picture is quite old. I mean, I look younger, I look older there, I don't know, but it's a picture from 3 years ago. But as much as possible, I just did a photo shoot last week to change my profile picture, so it will be getting changed. But as much as possible, your picture should be up to date. So don't go and take a picture when you were younger, and now it's like there's a big difference because we changed. So just make sure that it's as recent as much as possible. But this photo is from 3 years ago, so. Yeah, So you have your name in there, and the name or everything here, right, can be edited. So click here and hope my internet doesn't mess up. Okay, so you can edit your name. You can actually record how you want people to pronounce your name, which is very key. So how you want people to pronounce your name. So I have a recording because I don't want anyone massacring my name. So if you know you have an interesting Ghanaian name, which the pronunciation doesn't come simple to a lot of people, please do put the recording here. Don't record in a noisy, but make sure that it's quiet, you're pronouncing your name right, it's clean, right? Let the recording be clean. Yeah. And then the headliner, right, is where you want to put what you're doing now. So as you can see, Masters in Real Estate / Cornell University / Real Estate Enthusiast. So it's more like, this is what I'm a Masters in Real Estate student now. I'm in Cornell University and I'm interested in real estate finance. So right from my header, you get to know where I am now and what I'm interested in. So for anyone who is looking for someone who searches real estate finance, so let's say real estate finance Cornell, my profile might be one of the profiles that will come up. So another thing that I should even highlight before I move on is LinkedIn works on algorithms. So the kind of words you use in your LinkedIn, right, would influence how how easy or difficult people will find you. So right, if you search real estate finance, maybe Accra, Ghana, Cornell, I will surely show up because LinkedIn will pick some of those words from my profile and suggest to you, is this the person you're looking for? So you make sure that you're using keywords related to your interest. Yeah, and then you can add your current position. Right now, I'm a student, so I mean, I'm not working, so I don't have a current position, but education, so your school, country, all these things are pretty simple. And yeah, so after you can save, and then you kind of get this populated, right? Yeah. And now we come to the bio. This is how the bio looks like. As I was saying, my bio is longer. My bio is longer because I have been out of school for a while, and now I'm back in school, but I've been out of school for a while. The first part talks about during my undergrad. So for a lot of you that you are just now either in high school or going into college, maybe just the first part is what you should be thinking about. Just maybe talk about your high school experience and talk about what you're looking for it, or what you're looking for it to do in college, or what you're doing in college. Just about that, and opportunities you're looking for it to having. It could be full-time jobs or internships, right? So I would say 5, maybe maximum 10 lines. But as you can see here, I have my undergrad experience. I have this part here talks about when I started working, my professional experience. And then you can see currently I'm a first year student at Cornell University, and it talks about where now I want to go to. And I have a few words, so professional interests, right? I have real estate development, acquisitions, real estate finance, real estate private equity. So if anyone is to search some of these keywords, I have these words here because if anyone is to search some of these keywords, my profile will pop up. So if an employer is looking for, oh, we need an international student or a Ghanaian who is into real estate finance, and real estate, and the person searches real estate finance Ghana, my profile will be one of the profiles that will pop up. And it's very important that you you have keywords that would make people find your profile really easily. And yeah, here is like more like articles that I have been featured in. So LinkedIn gives you the opportunity to do that. You can just add, it's very simple, add, and you can either add a post, share an article, so you can add a media. So it's very simple. I don't want to spend too much time going over this because I also want to have time for questions. And anything you do on LinkedIn, right? Any activity, whether you like someone's post, you comment, you do anything, you will be able to more like keep track of all those activities here, right? Yeah, then you come to your project. So here is very simple. Your work experience. You put in your work experience, and the kind of what you did during those work experience. I've seen profiles. So what you did in those jobs, some people decide not to put it there. I've seen profiles where you can choose to put it or not to put it. It's a personal preference. So it all depends on you. I wouldn't say either might be right or wrong, but I've decided to like list some of the things I did during when I was working, but you can decide. So you can have it and not put anything, not describe like what you did. You can just have the name of your company and the info here, the info there. So you can just have this, and you can decide not to put this there. But I have decided to put it there, and I have a link to some of the projects I worked on. So you can also add that. Yeah, so these are some of my work experiences. And I did a campus job when I was back in Ashesi. It's called Work Steady. Yeah, and my internship whilst at Ashesi, and now this is me, right? So my education, so this is my current education right now. I'm doing my master's in real estate or my MBA, and yeah, and this past education, so you can also put that there, right? Whilst at Ashesi, I studied abroad at Swarthmore College, so it allows you to put almost everything and anything on there. So I studied abroad. It wasn't part of my main, I didn't go to Swarthmore College for 4 years, but I just studied abroad in Swarthmore College for a semester. But I have Swarthmore College, and there you can see 1 semester study abroad program. So anyone who wants someone with an international experience, let's say if I wasn't even in Cornell and the person goes to my profile, the person will see that, oh, okay, he spent a couple of months at Swarthmore College, and this is someone that maybe has enough international exposure, right? So don't see anything too little, everything there, right? And you're allowed to put your license, certifications, and all. Another feature that I'll quickly show you, I'll quickly want to show you guys is, what is this? So this add profile session. This is the opportunity to add another section. So in my profile, yeah, so you can add accomplishments. I don't have accomplishments in my profile, but you can add accomplishments. So once you do this, you can add a kind of accomplishments. If it's a course, if it's a project, if it's an award, like Cecil and IFWA who had so many, like a lot of recognition. But even if it's a little award, big award, it's a school, it's just focus on your school, or don't hesitate, like put everything there, right? Put everything there. So I would like to just pause here just in case anyone has any questions, and maybe I can answer very particular questions to LinkedIn. And yeah, I mean, LinkedIn has a lot of features. It has a messaging feature, which is really good. It has a job search feature. And okay, yeah, this is the last thing actually. How to connect, which is very key. You need to be strategic in creating connections. I see a lot of people who send connections to anyone and I personally don't accept connections from anyone. So before I accept your connection, I'll look at your profile, how good your profile is like, how good you've organized your profile. Is this someone who would share interesting things that I'll be interested in, and all of that, right? So I personally don't accept connections from anyone, right? But that said, when I'm also sending a connection, I make sure, I mean, as you can see, my profile is neatly laid out, but in sending a connection, once, let me pick someone. Let me say, let me pick, sorry, Felicia, I'm going to pick on you. I'm going to send you a connection right now just to give them a good sense. Or let me on Peter, right? So, Peter has sent me a connection. He just sent me a connection. Okay. So, I'm afraid now.
No,
I just want to show them something, right? Okay. So a lot of people when sending connections will just click on this and connect. But I'll show you a more professional and advanced way of doing stuff. Go here, sorry. Wait. Exactly, this is what I wanted to show. So once you click connect, right, you can just, I could connect with Felicia without necessarily adding a note. But now I will encourage you to add a note. It shouldn't be long. It should be like maybe 3 sentences. So I would say, hi, Felicia. I'm happy I found your profile. I am Eugene. Let's say I'm happy I found your profile. I noticed that we both have interest in mentoring young people. I'm a master's in real estate student at Cornell, and I'm happy to connect, right? If Felicia sees this, she doesn't know me. Let's say, assuming she doesn't know me, I've told her the reason why where we have a similar interest and the reason why I want to connect with her. So she's more likely to accept that connection than just not doing this and just sending connects, like, okay, sending it's like it's an Instagram or it's a Facebook. So what I just want to tell you that just be intentional in sending connections to people, right? If there's someone you really want to follow or there's someone you really want to connect to, always make sure that you send a note in addition. Or it could be, hi, I'm happy I found your profile. I saw this your last post on agriculture, and it looked very interesting. I'm a first-year student in Ashesi. I'm a first-year student in University of Ghana, or I'm a third-year student in Achimota School, and I'm happy to connect, right? So now you kind of like introduce yourself briefly, right? And that is really good. So try that. You find more people or more higher people connect. I mean, more higher people will be willing to accept your connections. I have a number of connections I've not accepted because, like, I mean, it's not like I'm trying to be too known, but it's just like, I need more. I don't know you, so I need you to sell yourself more for me to want to connect with you. You understand? Yeah, so I'll just pause here and take questions. LinkedIn has a messaging feature that you can also utilize a lot. Yeah, so that is LinkedIn for you. Use this opportunity you can follow, I mean, you can create a LinkedIn profile. If you want me to connect with you, do send me a message through, like, when you send me a connection, tell me, okay, yeah, I was on your session and I would love to connect with you. Once I connect with you, I would I would come and give you feedback. I would come and give you maybe wanted or unwanted feedback. On used to, you can how you can make your profile better. But yeah, you can feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, and once you put the connection there, I know where you're coming from, and I'll be willing to connect with you, even though maybe your profiles might be still like not so perfect, but then I'll come in and help you get a stellar LinkedIn profile, basically. But yeah, so I'm open for questions. And
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Your line went off a bit, so
Sorry.
just check.
For questions, if anyone has any questions.
Have you been on LinkedIn?
14, I think in September 2014, and it was a science class. Very quickly that it was just more than